So we're being forced to leave our off-grid property. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of history on how we got to this point. It's a little bit warmer today. It's been in the teens all week, and we're probably in the 20s now. By tomorrow, I think we're gonna be in the 50s. And for those who are gonna ask, yes, I still have to get white tarps. I'm actually in not that big of a hurry to get them. Get through the winter, and then I can put them on before spring. But the white tarps, I told you, they don't decay quite as quickly as these. I mean, I've got two of them down there and they haven't decayed yet. As some of you may know, Carolyn and I quit our very stressful job, I guess in 2017. It was killing us. Well, there was one week we worked 90 hours. That was a holiday weekend actually, but we had to go in and set up the line so everybody be ready on Tuesday. It was killing me. I've told people, if you really are curious how bad it was killing me, go back to my very first few videos and you'll see I was like death warmed over. Well, we quit and decided that we were going to travel the country in a pop-up camper, and that helped. It really did. I don't want to say everything that we've ever done has been miserable. It helped. It really did reduce the stress in our lives. But you know, Carolyn's got social anxiety and I'm kind of a recluse. There was just too many people going out there, and a lot of them were just a little better than homeless. Now, I guess you could call us homeless, but I always define the homelessness as, could you leave the nomadic lifestyle anytime you wanted to, join society again or do something else? A lot of those people couldn't. They were forced to live in their cars and then said how great it was to live in their car. Carolyn and I, we decided to quit, and the only thing that held us back was trying to find a piece of property. So we decided we were going to quit in August, and by January we found this place, and by March we were here. The only reason we waited from January to March was it was winter time. We were at Mom's house. We just parked their camper at Mom's house, and we decided that we weren't going to come down here in the winter and try to get a heat source going and everything. And then when it warmed up, we came down here, took the camper off the truck, stayed in the camper until we got the tiny house built. So we got it built by January of the next year. Moved into it, and we did pretty good. I don't want to say it was a complete failure, but we had a lot of wet firewood, and so we had a lot of creosote. We had 2 chimney fires from January till whenever we stopped using it. Haven't had a chimney fire since. We've gotten dry firewood now, and that first year the water froze on us also, to a point that it was pretty difficult to get through it. But now, well, it froze this year too, but this year we didn't have any struggles. Got the well to a situation now where it's got clean water. We can hook it up to the hose. We can hook the well up to the water heater. So we got all the bugs worked out, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That first year, I think it was the second year, summers, we got 15 cords of firewood stacked up. And that should last us 15 years. But in the meantime, we also had to get another at least 8 cords of firewood, and that was all stacked right here. Some of you may remember that. The camper's right here. All this was lined up from this point where I'm standing all the way to that cedar tree was firewood, 2 stacks of it. So that was, I think, 8 cords if I recall. And while we used that up in that heat exchanger trying to warm the camper, that was from September, October to January. We used all that. So that heat exchanger was pretty inefficient, but it kept us warm. It kept us from having to use propane. Right during this time, we were in the middle of a pandemic, so it's not like we could even go out and get it. The propane company actually shut down during that time, during the pandemic lockdowns. So any propane we would have gotten, we would have had to do the exchange at Dollar General. Well, Dollar General exchange is $20, whereas I can fill one up for $12. So it's $8 more expensive. So it made sense to work that hard to get that much firewood. 23 cords of wood in 2 summers that we got. And now I don't have to worry about firewood too much more. I mean, I'm gonna get about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 10 more cords throughout my life, just to make sure I got plenty to get through the rest of my life. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's gonna rot. It's not gonna rot. Termites, you get termites control, you put white tarps on it. I've explained this a million times, but people just adamantly refuse, and that's fine. If you wanna adamantly refuse, it's my risk to take. And now we got chickens. We've lost a few. The neighbor's dog got 9 this last year, a few months ago. So we've gotten all that secured. And the only reason I think we lost the 9 was he got through a window. And I said this before, and people got mad at me for picking on the subscribers. The subscribers wanted a window in the chicken coop, said they needed a window. Well, as many times as I've been reported to the authorities, I try to avoid getting reported. So if the subscribers in unison are telling me that I need to do something, I try to do it. I put windows in it. Well, the dog got through the windows, so no more windows. We're gonna get, the windows are all gone. I've patched all that up, so we shouldn't have any more problems with dogs. As a matter of fact, we've had 2 dogs return. I think I've taken care of the problem now. One dog pulled on that tarp, and there's a brick on top of it, and he pulled so hard he pulled that brick off. Nearly got him. But now we get enough eggs that it pretty much is self-sustaining. We could eat eggs almost every meal now. So this spring we're gonna get leghorns. I'm just tired of arguing with this in the comment section. Every time I say leghorns, a dozen people will tell me not to get them. I'm getting them. I understand your concerns, but I'm still getting them. We're gonna get, I think, 8 hens and 1 rooster. That way we can incubate each year. I've talked about all this before, but the subscribers seem to think that I'm just making a terrible mistake. It's not that terrible mistake, because if the leghorns don't work out, I still got 16 chickens that are producing eggs. My trial and error, and I think we've done our research. We're quite happy with the idea of getting leghorns. Leghorns actually are my understanding is what farmers primarily use for eggs. Yes, I know they're white eggs. People in the comment section are telling me that I can't sell white eggs as well as I can sell brown eggs. I'm not selling eggs. I want to be self-sustaining. I don't want to be a supermarket. I'm going to produce enough eggs so I can have an egg every meal. We're carnivores, and I understand that that's a big problem for a lot of people. You got to have variety in your diet. No, you don't. You can eat eggs every day. It provides all the nutrition you need. We're also going to cycle through, and we'll butcher the chickens every 3rd year. So first year they'll be able to produce in the fall, and they'll produce all through the winter. The second year chickens will be just in the middle. They'll be producing eggs, and then I guess in the fall, the 3rd oldest chickens will be butchered. And so we'll be constantly rotating. So every winter, we'll only have 2 age groups. And then in the spring, we'll incubate some more. And we've already been in this process. We would be doing that this year if the dog hadn't got those 9 chickens. So now we really don't have to leave the property, other than we just want to leave the property. I still go to the store to get different kinds of meats. We don't have to. And especially after you get the leghorns, we won't have to. Cheese, we get cheese. I know some people say you should make your own cheese and get goats and all that. I'm not gonna get goats. I've had goats before. I'm just not interested in raising goats. Here's what's funny. Somebody will tell me to go get goats. That way we can trim up the yard and we can get milk. But what do you feed goats in the winter? Well, no, you're supposed to butcher the goats in the fall. So you get goats in the spring and then butcher them in the fall. Well, then how am I going to get milk? You got to have a kid. The goat has to have a kid in order to get milk. So people will say things and then gaslight you like they didn't say what they said. So you got to be careful. People will tell you to do things that have no idea what they're talking about. What it is they've watched a YouTube video and all of a sudden they're experts. It's like this egg thing. I made a YouTube short, well actually I made a video and a YouTube short, but on the YouTube short I was talking about that there might be a issue with the feed from Tractor Supply Store. And somebody told me, oh yeah, and they went into all kinds of explanation about what's going on with the feed from the Tractor Supply Store. May not have protein in it anymore because of this and that. Well, what it was is he was repeating exactly what another YouTuber had done a bunch of research on. So it's not like this guy knew. He just watched the video and then passed the information along. And that's what's so dangerous about social media, is everybody wants to be an expert. So they watch a video from an expert and then all of a sudden they're the expert telling other people how to do their lives. So you got to be careful with that. I mean, I've seen other YouTubers raise goats and say, okay, I've had enough of goats. Chickens are just so much easier. So there is absolutely no reason to ever have to leave our property, but we're being forced to leave tomorrow. And I have said this before, and people tell me, oh, just quit whining. This is your responsibility as a citizen of the United States and a citizen of your state. And they just don't get it. The reason I came off grid was so I don't have to interact with society. I don't have to have electric, and I don't have to call the electric company and say, hey, my electric's out, can you come out and fix it? Or my cable's out, or anything. I mean, it's bad enough that I gotta have internet. I understand the differences between my job and my life. So I gotta have internet for my job. YouTube videos. The government requires I have internet. Every couple of years, you gotta have internet to renew your license, or you gotta have internet to do Social Security, just on and on and on. You gotta have a phone. You gotta stay connected in modern society. So the other day I told you I had to get online to renew my license plate. They are supposed to send a form, but they didn't send a form. So it tells me online, if they didn't send you a form, do this. So I did exactly what they told me, and it was just a constant loop. Just kept taking me around and around. Well, finally, I must have clicked a different button because it said, please contact this number. So I called the number. And this is after 3 hours of work. And it says, you will be helped in 1 hour. So that would have been 4 hours trying to get a license plate for my truck. So imagine if I had a real job and I had to take off work. Well, back in the day, when I was working 90 hours on a holiday, they never let me off. I was not allowed off. Fortunately, down where I lived, the license office was open on Saturdays. A recorded message that told me I had to wait an hour said I could call my local license office and they should be able to help me over the phone. So I called the local license office and they said, well, we can help you over the phone, but you would still have to come in and pick up the tags because we can't mail them to you. Now I have to go in to get my license renewed. It's almost to the point in my life where I would like to say, I would like to sell the truck, because the truck is the only thing tying me to society anymore. It's kind of a pain. I have to have a job, if you think about it, to pay for the insurance and the gas in the truck. I gotta have internet so I can get license and things for the truck. I have to go into town with the truck for the truck. Everything's about the truck, because I've disconnected myself so much now that there isn't a lot that I gotta do outside of taking care of the truck. I won't. I'm not going to give up the truck. It is kind of handy. I would be totally disconnected if I chose to be, if it wasn't for government. So, if you'll click this up next box, it'll take you to a video where I was talking about some troubles I was having in a tiny house. So I hope I can inspire you to recognize how much you're tied up to society so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.